मता बुद्धिर्जनार्दन
तत्किं कर्मणि घोरे मां नियोजयसि केशव. Arjuna said, O Janardana, O Keshava, why do you want to engage me in this ghastly warfare? If you think that intelligence is better, that would take work. Yamishrenev vakyena buddhim mohayasiva me तदेकं वद निश्चित्य येन श्रेयोऽहमाप्नुयाम्. My intelligence is bewildered by your equivocal instructions. Therefore, please tell me decisively which will be most beneficial for me. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Lokesmin vividha nishtha Pura prokta maya nagha Jnana yogena sankhyana Karma yogena yogina. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O sinless Arjuna, I have already explained that there are two classes of men who try to realize the self. Some are inclined to understanding it by empirical philosophical speculation, jnana yoga, and others by devotional service, karma yoga. Na karmana manarambhan Naishkaryam purushoshnute Nacha sanyasana deva Siddhim samadhigacchati. Not by merely abstaining from work, one can achieve freedom from reaction. Nor by renunciation alone can one attain perfection. Nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatu tishtati akarmakrit karyate havashah karma sarva prakriti jayir gunai. Everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities he has acquired from the modes of material nature. Therefore, no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment. Karmendriyani samyamya yaste manasa smaran indriyathan vinodhatma Mityacharasya uchyate. One who restrains the senses of action, karmendriyas, but whose mind dwells on sense objects. Yaste manasa smaran. Certainly he deludes himself and is called a pretender, Mithyachara. Yastvindriyani manasa niyamyarabhate Arjuna karmendriyai karma yogam asaktasya vishishyate. On the other hand, if a sincere person tries to control the active senses by the mind and begins karma yoga in Krishna consciousness without attachment, he is by far superior. Niyatam kuru karmatvam karmajayo hyakarmanaha sharira yatra pichate na prasiddhyena karmanaha. Perform your prescribed duty, for doing so is better than not working. One cannot even maintain one's physical body without work. Yajnarthat karmano nyatra samachara.
Mukta Sangha Samachara.
Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Yajnarthat karmanah. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction. And in that way, you will always remain free from bondage. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjansalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaiham Dadati Swapadantikam. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nadinamine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshakarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripasindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So very happy to be amidst all of you back again. We are beginning our study of the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the most important chapter. First chapter was problem definition. Dehatma buddhi, false bodily identification, is the root cause of all our problems. Second chapter, summary of Gita's contents. Lord Krishna, by surrender to Guru, getting proper knowledge of Atma Tattva, doing our two duties, worldly duties, transcendental duties, spiritual duties properly, and becoming Atma Rama, Sthita Prajna. How we can get rid of this fundamental problem of Dehatma Buddhi and thus become freed from all disturbance. Bhagavad Gita got over. First chapter, questions asked. Second chapter, answers given. However, a person convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. Dehatma buddhi is so strong, deha ko atma manna, to consider the self to be the body, not knowing the spiritual position of the soul. That mentality is so strong that even if it is presented in most eloquent words, one still cannot hear it clear because he has his own attachments. Often, most of us, what we hear, we filter it through our own consciousness, which has having so many past samskaras, impressions, worldviews, and because of that, even truth that we hear, we tend to take what we find suitable to our ego out of that truth. One time in one of the colleges in America, one of our teachers had gone, Purnachandra Swami, born American. He was giving a very bombastic presentation. You are not that body, you are spirit soul. So an old man raised hand, he was a professor in the college. If I am not my body, then whose body am I? Interesting question.
Dehatma Buddhi is so strong. If not, I am not my body, I have to be somebody else's body. There is no conception that I am separate from this body, I am a spirit soul, I have nothing to do with this. This is how we hear truth. We conveniently interpret it to suit our ego and attachments. That is what exactly Arjuna did. And that's why he is again asking the same question. You told me that acting with intelligence and avoiding all abominable activities, like war, that is his opinion. It's an abominable activity, war. And you told him, Durena hi avaram karma buddhi yoga dhananjaya. Keep these abominable activities far away using your buddhi. And be shanti, peace-loving person. And then suddenly you are telling me, get up and fight. So, Arjuna is saying, you are bewildering me by giving equivocal instructions. On one hand, you tell me use Buddhi Yoga to be peaceful and to be detached and to be free from any kind of attractions and aversions of this world. And exactly that's what I'm trying to do. I want to go to Himalayas. I don't want to fight this warfare for getting a kingdom. I just want to be peaceful. And with using my intelligence, I want to keep this war far away. And then you are telling me now, pick up your Gandhi and fight. You say, how can that be? And that is why he asked this first question in this chapter. Let's first see the acronym so that you can remember the whole chapter. And then we will go ahead with the rest. The acronym is TREE. Chapter 3, acronym TREE. Easy to remember. What was the acronym of second chapter? Thank you. You just saved me from a heart attack. When you remember things nicely, I can't tell you how I feel like flying. So here is the acronym for chapter 3, TREE. T for Tyaga. Arjuna is thinking, which is better? Karma Yoga is better or renunciation of work, Tyaga, is better? Karma Yoga means acting in transcendental consciousness, not material consciousness. When you connect your consciousness to the Supreme, it's called yoga, connection. So, when you think of the Lord and do your duty, that's called Karma Yoga for His satisfaction. For example, somebody is doing parenting, somebody is being a teacher, somebody is being a business owner. When they conduct their duties in a manner that is pleasing to God and for His satisfaction, then their work becomes Karma Yoga. So, Arjuna was thinking, Tyaga, you have to renounce everything of this world. To become spiritual, you have to get rid of this matter, material activities, other involvements. I don't want to be a pound, shilling, pence man anymore. I just want to be transcendental, out of the world. Well, intellectually we may get convinced, but our habits don't go away so easily. You have that experience? मक्का गए, मदीना गए, होकर आए हाजी, फिर भी आदत बदली नहीं, फिर पाजी के पाजी. Sometimes we do so much of spiritual activity, hear so many classes, and attend function, program, this, that, everything. But I told you there is a public life, private life and secret life. 3 lives that we have. And often we have trouble maintaining the same stature everywhere. So, although we receive transcendental knowledge, at least in the moment when we are hearing transcendental knowledge, our consciousness is detached from matter. We can experience it. But only till that time. As soon as we stop hearing transcendental message, immediately attachment catches up. We just forget few seconds back something we had heard. And that is the level of our detachment. So the typical tendency in a neophyte who becomes a new spiritualist is that he assumes he has made tremendous spiritual advancement and thus he can act indifferent to matter and worldly responsibilities. And this tendency Lord wants to curb. And he says, Tyaga does not mean you will not get reaction. For being irresponsible, there will be reaction. If you prematurely detach yourself from activities of this world, without having latched your consciousness to transcendence, artificial renunciation will lead to more disaster. That's why better continue doing your duty and work on your consciousness while you do them. Try and spiritualize it. And that is called Karma Yoga. So Arjuna is asking the question, which is better, Karma Yoga or Tyaga? So what he has picked up? Tyaga is better. No. वो कहते ना, throw the baby away with the bathwater. That kind of mentality. You want to get rid of reaction that comes to the karma. So the solution is don't do any karma. But by not being responsible in your duty, you get another type of reaction. You cannot deny that. So this Arjuna is unaware of. He says, I will just get detached, I will no more Kshatriya business, I will become Brahman, go to Himalaya, start chanting Hare Krishna, and peace. It will not work. So he has this peculiar doubt, which every spiritualist gets in his life, after hearing transcendental knowledge, कि अगर ये ट्रूथ है कि मैं शरीर नहीं हूँ, मैं आत्मा हूँ, मैं भगवान का शाश्वत अंश हूँ, भगवत धाम जाना मेरे जीवन का उद्दिष्ट है, तो मैं क्यों सर खपा रहा हूँ इस दुनिया में? भूल जाओ, get out, get lost. What is this wife, children, husband business? What is this job, social cause and responsibility and all? I am detached, I am transcendental. So I am transcendental in theory. Actually, I am not transcendental. As soon as the opportunity arises, all our knowledge vanishes somewhere. We start doing again sense gratification. Forget that I am not this body. I am spirit soul. And that is why Krishna is prescribing a gradual purification program called as Karma Yoga. You understand gradual purification program? So don't change the activity. Start changing the consciousness behind that activity with which you do it. And this will help you. First of all, it will keep you safe without any danger. It will keep the society also at peace. And people will not blame spiritualists for premature renunciation. They will take good examples from them and apply in their life also. Many advantages of Karma Yoga. And that's why Arjuna is asking that question. What am I supposed to do? I think Tyaga is better, right? That's what you told me. By using intelligence, you have to keep all abominable activities far away, like war. So he has his own interpretation. And Lord says, no. Karma Yoga is better. Fight with transcendental consciousness. Earlier you used to think about yourself and think of your gain and loss. Now you think of me and my instruction. What do I want you to do? And fight. And this is the first part of the story. T. The second is called R. Rungs of Yoga Ladder. From Karma Kand to Karma Yoga, how to progress in our life. I'll explain this after the acronym explanation goes through. The rungs of Yoga Ladder. Then E is exemplary. NKY, you have heard NYK, but NKY is Nishkam Karma Yoga. So, Nishkama Karma Yoga will help you become exemplary in the society. Krishna and his devotees act to set an example although they are materially detached, they have nothing to gain from anybody in this world, they still continue to act dutifully for setting a good example for general public. That is called exemplary. Perform Nishkam Karma Yoga to set the right example. E. Enemy of the soul dash lust. What disturbs our being exemplary in life is lust. Our insatiable and uncontrollable material desires. They are the cause why we become unexemplary in conducting our duties. Any duties. How to deal with this enemy of the soul called lust? So why is it an enemy first of all? That will be explained. And then there are two means Krishna prescribes to conquer lust. Number one, perform prescribed duties, varnashram, according to your nature. So have an occupation and an ashram setting that is suiting to your psychophysical nature, so that your mind will be in sync with matter while you continue practicing spiritual cultivation. Second one, tolerate the urges by strengthening your spiritual intelligence. The various urges come in our body due to lust. Insatiable, uncontrollable material desires. How do you control those urges? You have to give khurak to your spiritual intelligence, because only through that intelligence can you curb your mind and your senses and put them on the right track. Just like the charioteer, if he is very strong, then he can control the reins and the horses and keep them on track. And the passenger can peacefully travel. So you have to give food to your spiritual intelligence, which is like the charioteer of your system. So these are the two means. Varnashrama, according to your nature. Strengthen spiritual intelligence by knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. Any questions so far? Yes.
In text 9, why does Krishna refer to Vishnu as a third person?
When Krishna talks about himself, he often refers to Vishnu and he says, Tameva Sharanam Gacha. Go and surrender to him. So he's asking why Krishna speaks like that. Because Krishna is Paramatma, Krishna is Vishnu. Why is he saying, Yajnarthat Karmanaha, work should be performed for satisfaction of Vishnu. And I say, nah, satisfaction of me. The reason is, in Vedic culture, when Bhagavad Gita or any scripture is being propagated, there are all kinds of people who hear this knowledge. There are people who are karmis, materialistic people. There are people who are karma kandis. There are people who are karma yogis, jnana yogis, ashtanga yogis. So jnana yogis want Brahman, ashtanga yogis want Paramatma, bhaktas want Bhagavan, feature of absolute truth. And karmis want particular enjoyment. They don't want anything to give into with God. They also want to put God in their service. Can you give me enjoyment? Otherwise get lost. So, because there is a whole wide range of audience there, and Vishnu is the personality that deals with material world. Creation, maintenance, destruction happens through the Vishnu feature of the absolute truth. So in general, for public in this world, we talk about him. And the term is used, Yajnarthat, as an act of sacrifice we should perform for the sake of Supreme. And although who that Supreme is kept vague. Maybe Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan, you decide. But yajnarthat karmana. Perform your work as a sacrifice for the sake of the Supreme. This is how indirectly Krishna speaks, and he only gives a drop of bhakti, then a spoon of bhakti, then a glass of bhakti, and then a syntax tank of bhakti, and then ocean of bhakti as the Bhagavad Gita progresses. Because there are audience for which this karma yoga is spoken are not necessarily bhaktas. The first 6 chapters are for karma section, middle 6 is for bhakta, and last 6 are for jnana. So that's why he's a little cautious about introducing himself too quick. Because people don't like it. You have seen that? If you just put yourself and stomp in their way and say, hey, surrender. Who are you to surrender to? So it's all right. Surrender to Vishnu. Okay? Or surrender to that Supreme. Fine. So that's too early an introduction. So Krishna is also chill. He's going to soon bring in the topics. So in those days when we used to go to any college to cultivate, preach Krishna consciousness, there would be all one-man show. I am the teacher, I am the cook, I am also the person who cleans the pots, I am also the person who does the care of the boys when they come, to bathe them, feed them, dress them, because they are all hippies from hostel culture. And then, you have to take their studies also. And then you get, some boys say, I want to become brahmachari, then you train them. Some say, I want to become a grihastha, then you go and get a girl for them. And get him married. So all that only person is doing. But when the boys, they're coming in the beginning, we tell them, हमारा एक डिपार्टमेंट है, किचन डिपार्टमेंट, उसको हम तो पूछ के बताएंगे प्रोग्राम पॉसिबल है कि नहीं. अभी वो किचन डिपार्टमेंट कौन है? मैं हूँ. But I don't have funds. I don't know what can be done, what cannot be done about the program. So I'd say किचन डिपार्टमेंट को पूछ के बोलता हूँ. तो बाद में जाके मैं कैलकुलेट करूँगा लक्ष्मी कितना है, ला सकते हैं कि नहीं. And then you say, okay, we'll do this program, and we'll have full prasad for that program. So it is something like that. Of course, Krishna is not like us who is having scarcity. But I'm just saying it from, you don't want to introduce that I am the one guy here, who is doing everything. Better so, just listen to me. Whatever I say is what goes on here. It cannot be done like that. So that's the reason. Anyways.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
This is about this page 149,
Mm-hmm.
text 3.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just read out what is given there. The ultimate goal is Krishna, because the philosophers who are also sincerely searching after the absolute truth come in the aid to Krishna. Right. Krishna consciousness. This is also stated in the Bhagavad Gita. The whole process is to understand the real position of the self in relation to the super self. The direct process is philosophical speculation, by which gradually one may come to the point of Krishna consciousness. And the other process is directly connecting everything with Krishna in Krishna consciousness. Now, how is this? Anyway, I'll then come back to this. Of these two, the path of Krishna consciousness is better because it does not depend on purifying the senses by philosophical process. Krishna consciousness is itself the purifying process, and by the direct method of devotional service, it is simultaneously easy and sublime.
Okay, explanation.
हाँ,
Can I do that along with this yoga ladder explanation? Because that fits there very appropriately. Yoga ladder is a depiction of levels of consciousness and corresponding activities that all living beings adopt in their pursuit of their goals of life. In Vedic culture, the lowermost level of consciousness was karma kand. Karma kand means you want material enjoyment, and in order to have that material enjoyment, you go and take help of Vedas. So you want health, Surya. You want wealth, Kubera. You want destroying of your enemies, Indra. You want good wife, Durga. You want to get good husband, Lord Shiva. Like that. So there are prescriptions, different strokes for different folks. Whoever wants whatever, material enjoyment. So they will be redirected to a particular department head in the universe who supplies that ingredient. You understand? That's why there are 33 crore devatas. Sometimes people wonder in Hindu mythology, they call it mythology. It's not mythology, it's a fact. So they say 33 crore. हमारा मतलब अर्थ का पॉपुलेशन का क्या उतना according to Darwin's theory of evolution. So they may wonder what is this whole 33 crore idea. So 33 crore departments है उसको उतने इंचार्ज है ब्रह्मांड में. Even to blink your eyelids you need a sanction of a devata. You know that? That much our system is completely under administrative control of some other fellows. You have the user password of the system. So that is not known to many people in this world. That there are devatas who are controlling our existence. Now, so if you want material enjoyment, don't do donkey work. Go and approach a person who has that material resource, offer him a little praise and some offering, and in return you get from them whatever you need. It's an easy way out. That's what we do in modern times also, right? Go to a politician, offer a little praise and give a small donation and then get a big work done out of that situation. So they have become the devatas of modern times. The movie actors, actresses, cricket players, politicians and all of that. They are the demigods. People go to them for self-gratification. Now this mentality is called karma kanda. I want material enjoyment, but I am aware that I am not God and I can't have it all by myself. I need to subordinate to some authority, please that authority and get my enjoyment sanctioned. This mentality is called karma kanda. Now in modern times nobody follows karma kanda also. ऐसे देवताओं को क्या जरूरत है? हम साइंटिफिक टेक्नोलॉजिकल एडवांसमेंट कर लेंगे. जो चाहिए नेचर से खींच के ले लो, exploit nature and enjoy life. Why need devatas? So people have become overconfident because they have gained tiny control over material nature through the science and technology. And that's why nobody even goes to devatas nowadays. They go to Obama, Osama, all this micro devatas of the planet and get their job done, and I think that's good enough. You don't need anybody anymore. So that situation is less than this platform. It's a low level consciousness where you are not even aware that you are under some authority. And you think you are independent and you can do any damn thing you want in the life. So it's so oblivious to the reality. This karma kand is to regulate human enjoyment and also give it under sanction so that gradually there is purification of heart. So what is the purification of heart? We all have possessive mentality. But Ishavasya Vidam Sarvam, everything belongs to the Supreme Lord. So we are far from that reality. So karma kand is to at least bring in the concept that you are subordinate to some authority and you need to sacrifice a little of your possessions to get some enjoyment in life. That's karma kanda. A little above this mentality is the mentality of karma yoga. There are two types of karma yoga: sakam karma yoga and nishkama karma yoga. Having dealt with the devatas for a long duration of time to get his material enjoyments, a person would inevitably come across other section of the Vedas, because Brahmanas are the ones who are telling him कि तुमको ये चाहिए इसके पास जाओ, वो चाहिए उसके पास जाओ. And he has also gone and experienced Swarga and earth, and he has gone through that whole cycle of material enjoyment up and down in the universe. Now a person gets a little fed up. बोलता है इसमें कुछ दम नहीं है. You know, just like people in India want to go to America. People in America want to go to moon. And nobody is satisfied. So there is no happiness in material world anywhere. So people start inquiring, what is that one supreme cause from which everything emanates, and can my activities channelized in that direction? And that is the beginning of karma yoga. As soon as you bring the term yoga, it means connection with the supreme. So this 33 crore devatas, they are not supreme. They are like the cabinet ministry. And there is one prime minister there, Vishnu, who takes charge of the whole situation. So then people would be informed by the Brahmanas that actually, you see all the Vedic mantras, they begin and end with glorification of Vishnu. It always begins with Omkara and always ends with mantras that address Vishnu. Om Tad Vishnu Paramam Padagam Sada Pashyanti Surayah. Many mantras. So the reciting of those mantras would ask, people will become curious, who is this person Vishnu? The Brahmanas then would inform, actually he is your father. तुम लोग ये सेल्स पर्सन्स के पास जाके भिक्षा मांग के लाने का प्रयास कर रहे हो ये मॉल के अंदर, ब्रह्मांडा मॉल. You better go to your father and ask him what you need. Oh, then people say, okay. So then what they begin is the process of Sakam Karma Yoga, which means they start doing business with Vishnu for material enjoyment. Like people go to Tirupati and they say 50-50. Business agar success, 50% profit to one. And they get success. So that's called Sakama Karma. Sakama means getting your material desires fulfilled. With that intention, you will do Karma Yoga. So, like for example, in our temple, there was a person who came, and he was an excellent bag maker. His bags, and our brahmacharis travel a lot, they do need bags. So he said, my bag making business I have, and from temple no profit. And I will make bags and give everybody. So we said, okay. So his cost price was 300 rupees for a bag, so we gave him that much. But after making the bag, he said, but 100 rupees extra denge to acha rahega. And he said, oh, you didn't tell that first. But anyways, we understood he's a Sakam Karma Yogi. He wants to do it for the Lord, not that he wants to do it independent. But at the same time, he expects something in return. Fine, we gave him the money. Another person came. He was a great cook. He started cooking for devotees. So he started doing service in the kitchen. He would make fantastic items. And after the kitchen, he would not charge any money. He would do it all as a service. And he would actually cook very excellent for the Lord, for the devotees. But then sometimes it would happen that kitchen needs cleaning and you need to wash the vessels. So if you ask them, Prabhu, thoda wo bacha hai, thoda help kar do na. Cooking karna mera kaam hai. वो clean up वगैरह मेरा काम नहीं, वो दूसरे को लगाने का. So this is a Nishkam Karma Yogi. He's Nishkam in the sense he doesn't want results of his work for himself. But he's still Karma Yogi in the sense he's still attached to the form of work that he does. You understand? कि ये ही करूँगा मैं. उसको बोला तुम जाके दूसरा काम करो, बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन. बोलता है बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन मेरा काम नहीं, मैं सिर्फ कुकिंग करता हूँ. This is called Karma Yogi. What is prominent in his life? Karma. It is tinged with bhakti. That is called Karma Mishrita Bhakti. Actually, it is Bhakti Mishrit Karma. Karma is prominent and Bhakti is somewhere. So we all have that experience. We are all attached to a particular type of work. Right? And we are so attached to it, we cannot live without it. Because of our conception, our consciousness is rooted in that matter. So, but then sometimes we are willing to do it for the pleasure of the Lord. That becomes Nishkama Karma Yoga. Are you getting the gradual change in the mood, the level of detachment and the focus, I-centeredness to slowly, God-centeredness? It's increasing. That is called Nishkama Karma Yoga. Above this is Jnana Yoga. In Jnana Yoga, person becomes very philosophical about life. That's the question now. He understands that there are these 24 elements in the material nature. You know, there is 5 senses, correspondingly 5 sense objects, tanmatras. There are 5 karmendriyas and jnanendriyas, so total 10. And 5 tanmatras, 15. And then the earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, false ego, 8. 15 plus 8, 23. Then there is soul, Atma. So this total 24 elements makes this Brahmanda, material creation. This analytical study is called Sankhya Yoga or Jnana Yoga. Analytical study of matter and spirit is called Sankhya Yoga or Jnana Yoga. So this person becomes so philosophical about life that he is no more interested in karma. He is not attached to a particular type of work. He is he's up there in the cloud somewhere. And he conducts his bodily affairs just bare minimum, but maximum of his time is going in contemplating the truth. And he delights in that. Because we are made up of Chit, na? Sat, Chit, Ananda. Chit means knowledge. So when we get connected to true knowledge, we delight. We feel, wow, what is this going on with me? And that is what happens to a Jnana Yogi. So this Jnana Yogi analyzes the material nature to find out the nature of the self and the nature of the super soul, the source of these 24 elements. Cause of all causes. Often he comes to a wrong conclusion that the cause of all causes is Brahman. Brahman is the effulgence coming from the body of the Lord, Nirakar, Nirvishesh, Jyoti. And he thinks that's the ultimate cause of everything. So that's Jnana Yogis. When this Jnana Yogi further progresses, what is the sadhana of a Jnana Yogi? That will be told in 13th chapter, 13.8 to 11. Those shlokas will tell you what do Jnana Yogis do in their life. This chapter 3 and 5 will talk about Karma Yoga in practice, Karma Yoga in perfection. 3 and 5 chapter. ये बच्चा कर्मयोगी है, ये बुजुर्ग कर्मयोगी है, मैच्योर है. So दोनों का distinction है उसमें, 3rd and 5th chapter. Then as he progresses further in his understanding, he comes across this understanding that the easier way to know truth is by meditating upon it directly than to take to the process of negation of relativity. I'll explain. Let's say somebody doesn't know what is a donkey. So he goes and catches the mridanga. Donkey's characteristics don't match here. Naiti. He goes and catches, that doll, murti. So doesn't match there. This building also is not donkey. And Empress Garden is not donkey. And this is not donkey. That is not donkey. That is not donkey. What donkey is that he doesn't know. But what donkey is not, that he knows. So that is the process of neti. Naiti. This is not absolute truth. That is not absolute truth. That is what the jnani is doing in his head all the time. But what the absolute truth is, that he doesn't know. You understand? So this fellow, he comes to understand, यार मैं मूर्खता के ऐसा absolute truth चलो directly उसके ऊपर meditate करो ना. जो नहीं absolute truth है उसके ऊपर meditate करके क्या मिलने वाला? उसका analysis करके. So then from scriptures he get the information that there is this Paramatma in the heart of all living beings, our closest and truest of all friends, who never leaves us. He is the source of all wisdom, beauty, knowledge and power. And he is the Sarva Karana Karana, cause of all causes. We all have our own private Paramatma. The same person, but in all different bodies. And then he starts meditation on that Paramatma. Dhyana avasthita tadgatena manasa pashyantiyam yoginaha. He becomes Ashtanga Yogi, starts performing dhyana on the form of Paramatma in the heart that is described in the Vedas. Such a person is called as Ashtanga Yogi. What is his target? Paramatma. Now these two fellows have a great disadvantage. That disadvantage is they cannot engage their senses with matter. They consider it Maya. But senses need real engagement. आपको याद पता ना? We cannot stay without engagement. We go crazy. So that is their disadvantage. Anytime Maya का झोंका, they fall from their stature. So that is why there is disadvantage. And that's why this Ashtanga yogis who mature in their dhyana by practicing yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. At the stage of samadhi, they realize the Lord in the heart, Paramatma. And there are two types now in Ashtanga yogis. Those who fall in love with the Lord after they get his darshan, like Dhruva, he saw the Lord Paramatma in the heart. Oh, he was so fascinated. He just jumped in a loving relationship with the Lord. And Dhruva became a devotee. So that is a Ashtanga yogi who becomes a lover of Paramatma and engages in his service. And there are some yogis who assume that I am that Paramatma. Understand? So they are called Brahmamadis, the typical ones. And they strongly identify with him to an extent that they want to merge with the Lord and become one with him. So that's the second category of Ashtanga yogis. However, as the consciousness goes further ahead, see here there is activity and no detachment. Here there is activity plus detachment plus attachment to the activity, that detachment from fruits, but attachment to activity that you perform. Then here there is attachment, activity, there is detachment, and then there is detachment from the fruits also. Here there is activity, detachment from fruits plus knowledge, cultivation of knowledge. And here there is activity plus detachment from action, detachment from fruits of action, knowledge and meditation. And here there is all these five plus devotion to the Supreme. So that is why it is called yoga ladder. Progressive arrangement. It's a philosophical concept which we can see in our day-to-day life, that people are at these levels of consciousness and correspondingly they adopt certain type of activities in their life. This is called as yoga ladder. Whole Bhagavad Gita is based on this concept, and it is very important to understand this very clearly. अगर योगा लैडर नहीं समझ में आता है तो कृष्ण क्या करते रहते हैं, बोलते बोलते गियर चेंज करते हो. और हम बोलते हैं अभी 2 मिनट पहले बोला कि फाइट करो स्वर्ग में जाओ, अभी बोल रहे फाइट करो और ब्रह्म निर्वाण पृच्छति, यू अटेन ब्रह्मन. अनदर डे फाइट करो and for the sake of the Supreme, and fight karo, and he says out of love for me you do it because I am asking you to do. And you wonder karna kya exactly. But what is he doing? According to the audience's level of capacity to digest, he's just changing gears, keeping them on the track. Let them progressively make some limited advancement on this path upward. And that is why Bhagavad Gita keeps going here, there. And sometimes people can't figure it out. He exactly chal kya raha inka. Just like when you are driving a car. Have you ever driven a car, same gear, same steering position, no change in speed, same accelerator, I want to say, fuel supply, and no change? Has it ever happened? In material world, not possible. Similarly, in our conversation with people, we have experience. We have to change gears. We have to accelerate, brake. We know now, no more. We have to start topic change. Turn and go somewhere else. We have all that experience, right? Why should Lord be exempt from that? Because he's preaching to a wide audience. Bhagavad Gita's audience is not just Arjuna. Arjuna is an instrument. But who is Krishna talking to? Everybody. And all of us are in various levels of detachment, action and all that level. And what we are going to figure out from this whole thing is what we think is ego-friendly. Not eco-friendly. Ego-friendly. And then Krishna has left no scope. It's like a checkmate. तुम नास्तिक हो तो भी क्या करो? You know, wow, that's an interesting, you know. So this is how Krishna is arranging the whole philosophical thought that you just can't escape. He has put it all there in one place. And that's why this yoga ladder is the most important philosophical concept which we will every now and then come back to, and you must try and understand. All this is too philosophical. Some of you might be getting bored. I don't know. You're okay with this? If you're okay, say Hari Bol. Okay. Thank you. And then comes the Bhakti Yogi. The middle 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. He is after Bhagavan. And he has an advantage. Right from day one, he gets super engagement for his senses. Seva. He is never idle. And by service of the Rishikesha, master of the senses, he gets transcendental pleasure. Whenever you engage your senses in service of God, you get transcendental pleasure. You know, tongue in eating prasadam, nose in smelling flowers offered to the Lord. You know, singing and dancing, who doesn't like? You know? And like that. So he has positive engagement. And he has no tension of falling down in spiritual life. Now, the problem in modern civilization is people are below karma kant. Below karma kant level is called animals. What is the level of consciousness? Below karma kant, animal you see, act by instinct. You know, from one eating, sleeping, mating, defending to another eating, sleeping, mating, defending, another eating, sleeping, mating. उतना ही चलता रहता है उसका चक्कर. उसका consciousness उसके बाहर आता ही नहीं. Round and round the fellow is revolving around matter. And he has no conception of transcendence, spirit. So that is animal life. But please don't mind. Modern human beings, Kali Yuga product, they are below this level. Because even animals are regulated in their habits of eating, sleeping, mating and defending. Animals eat only when they are hungry. Modern human beings are not like that. They sleep only when they are tired. They mate only when it is a proper season. And they defend only when you threaten them for life. Modern human beings invent video games and have mental defense against nothing. What are you defending against? It's an imagined problem. So this is even the level of below the Homo sapiens. That's our Darwin's name, you know, for current human beings. That I was saying. Now, this is far below animal. You can imagine where is Vedic culture and where are we? And Prabhupada is such a personality, he went and preached to these type of people. And he got them into the fold of Vedic following. And he made them at least Nishkam Karma Yogi. Like in our temple, sometimes people come and ask us, like one devotee asked our devotee who did the temple construction service, आपको कितना commission मिलता है? And that brahmachari looked at him. He said, दिमाग ठिकाना क्या तुम्हारा? What kind of question is this? हम लोग का बैंक अकाउंट ही नहीं है. पैसा डालेगा किधर तू? ऐसा हो सकता है कोई व्यक्ति इस दुनिया में जिसका बैंक अकाउंट नहीं है? बोला हाँ, 175 लोग हैं मंदिर में ऐसे. कंडीशन है आश्रम ज्वाइन करना तो बैंक अकाउंट बंद करके आने का. Wow, that's an interesting story to have in life. So you have nothing to possess. All that you have, dhoti, kurta and food and everything is all supplied by Lord and His agency. You know. And what you do? Seva. So of course, we cannot say that we are fully, you know, high up there, but at least there is a conception that I should give service and expect nothing in return. There will be attachment to a particular type of service. कि मेरे को teaching अच्छा लगता है. वो deities worship अच्छा लगता है, cooking अच्छा लगता है, fine, but still there is some level of detachment. So we should all strive after hearing this whole thing to try and come up to the standard of some degree of detachment from fruits of our work, from the kind of work that we perform. Try and develop our meditation on the Lord and become more and more focused and intimate in a personal relationship with Him. And that would be the success of having understood this yoga ladder. Any comments or questions? Okay, behind.
Now the question arises, we human beings, if we've achieved at some level here, so is it a permanent level or do we keep on going up and down and so and forth? I mean, and what are the factors which bring us down and what could be done to keep us at certain level?
Steady. First of all, in a day, our consciousness goes through the whole range. That is how agitated our mind is. Sometimes we are like a pure devotee, like Krishna is my everything, kuch nahi chahiye. Another time we are in, I don't know, animal consciousness. So I want from Krishna this and I want from Krishna that. And another time we are Sakam Karma Yogi, Nishkam Karma Yogi. The whole range that we go through. So the mind is always like this. Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chittente Kariya Aikya Arana Kariha Mane Asha. That's why we should make the instructions of our spiritual teachers one with our heart. And we should take a firm resolve that whatever my Guru tells me I will do. Why? Because my Guru is not a servant of his mind. He is a servant of God. And if I follow him, I will also conquer my mind in due course of time. So by following the instructions of our Guru according to our current level of spiritual advancement, we become steady in that situation. Then he gives us further and further guideline to raise our consciousness more and more. So that is first thing. All of us should hear transcendental knowledge with rapt attention and with great introspection. You ask this question, that's a sign of introspection. One is thinking about what he is hearing. नाहीतर नळी फुंकली सोनारे इकडून तिकडे गेले वारे इस कान से उस कान तक इस कान से उस कान तक. So that kind of hearing is no good. I'm sorry. I said something odd. So we should be very, very contemplative of what we hear. When we hear spiritual knowledge, we should feel, my God, ये पहले क्यों नहीं बोला? इतना सारा मेरा जीवन मेरे को कैसा लगता था? 17 years of my life I wasted without even knowing these basic things in life. So one should have eagerness, humility, submission, determination to follow these instructions. So that is what gives us steadiness. Another is always consult. If you land up in a situation where you don't know what to make a decision on, when you go and consult a superior and take an opinion, how would we like to do this? And that can keep us in track, progressive in this yoga ladder. Any other?
My question remains is that we have discussed from this different levels and different aims of the planning that what is the ultimate truth, the genuine truth, and what is the aim of the exercise? I thought I'll say this with my limited knowledge. I was saying that samadhi or Satchidananda is the ultimate where you merge with the world, you experience the extreme happiness. Is that the aim, or what other is the aim? What is the aim?
What is the limit of realization?
That's it.
Samadhi is described by Patanjali as samyak rupena adhiyate asmin atma tattvam anamayam, which in English means to be situated in one's own swarupa in relationship with the Supreme Absolute Truth. So Swarupa refers to Satchidananda, and that Satchidananda is a form, is not formless. How do you know? Because it is not Satchit Shanti, it is Satchit Ananda. And Ananda is always a product of exchange of rasa, relationship between two people. And that is why our ultimate level of realization, if it is Brahman, then why do people fall down from even Brahma Jyoti? Vedas describe Aruhya Kruchrena Param Padam Tatah Patamti Adho Anadruta Yushmadam Graya. Because they have not taken shelter of the Supreme Lord, the people who go and stay in Brahma Jyoti, they fall down back into material world. It's like a rocket that goes out of Earth's orbit but doesn't get another planet to land into. Has to come back here again. So that is the situation with Brahmavad. Paramatmavadis, that in their realization of Paramatma, they just delight in Shantyaras, having got a grandeur, awe and reverence towards the beautiful form of the Lord they are beholding in their own heart. But they don't reciprocate with Him. It's just awe and reverence, shock. What is that song? बार बार देखो, हजार बार देखो, ये देखने की चीज है, हमारा दिलरुबा. That's Paramatma in the heart. He is really beautiful to behold. And it is not possible to just take your eyes or consciousness off Him. But that's Shantaras, neutrality. Higher than that realization is the realization of a personal, intimate, loving service with the Lord, where even Lord becomes subordinate to the devotee's love. Like Yashoda, she controls Krishna. Arjuna is telling Krishna where to drive his chariot. And that is considered superior realization than even merging with God or just being in awe and reverence with God or any other thing.
It is symbolic. It is symbolic.
Of
This Arjuna and Yashoda is the relationship.
they are eternal personalities ever existing in the spiritual world, who descend from there into this world. That's why they are called avatar, avatarati, along with the Lord. So along with his eternal associate, Lord comes in this material world and performs his pastimes. And that is not illusion. That is not temporary. It is eternal reality that exists, the spiritual world.
And what is Tattvam?
Tattvam Asi, in contextual terms, means you are that. Now what is that? That could mean Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan. So when we say Brahman, it is true, we are Brahman, but we are not Para-Brahman. We are spirit in nature. We are not matter. Aham Brahmasmi. Last question.
When you speak of ladder, you think you're stepping
One stage at a time sometimes.
But that passage we just read out in the purport, that said this is not an indirect path, but it is a, you can directly answer.
Correct. So there is the indirect path, which means you go by this yoga ladder. You spend 1,000,000 lifetimes being an animal, then another few lifetimes being a karmagandhi, then Sakam Karma Yogi, then Nishkam Karma Yogi, then Jnana, then Ashtanga, then Bhakti. So many lifetimes in material world till you realize the truth. Instead of that, you can take a lift. You don't go through the ladder. How many of you came on the 10th floor through a ladder? Here? Anybody? Why? अरे भैया लिफ्ट है तो क्यों लैडर पे जाना है? So there is this bhakti yoga lift. Never mind which situation you are in. You are a hippie, no problem. Take the lift. From here, straight here. And that is the power of bhakti yoga, that one may be in any level of consciousness, doing any sorts of nonsense. But if he takes to the process of Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Sevanam, he can just transcend that situation and become perfect in one lifetime. And that is the power of bhakti yoga. Elegant. You know, every rocket, to launch it, you need that thrust engine. और उसका थ्रस्ट कितना चाहिए 11.2 किलोमीटर पर सेकंड एस्केप वेलोसिटी, वो उतना दिया थ्रस्ट तो ही बाहर जाता है वो ग्रेविटेशनल पुल के. सो भक्ति योगा इज लाइक दैट पावरफुल थ्रस्ट इंजन. इट सेंड्स यू आउट फ्रॉम ग्रेविटेशनल पुल ऑफ माया in one lifetime. What takes so many lifetimes for everybody of these fellows to come across as detachment, Bhakti Yogi can much easily achieve. Even a 5-year-old boy can achieve. Prahlad, Dhruva, so many examples. And that is the glory of Bhakti Yoga. Vishnu. One last question.
Prabhuji, is it okay to say that Yukta Vairagya is equal to Nishkam Karma Yoga?
No, Yukta Vairagya is a all-round concept. Yukta Vairagya can be in Bhakti or it can be in Nishkam Karma Yoga depending on whether we are attached to the activity or not. So when we utilize things for pleasure of the Lord, like I am using a mic or a laptop, this is Yukta Vairagya. Yukta means connected to the Lord. Vairagya means we are not wanting to use it for any material purpose. So it could be at the level of Nishkam Karma Yoga, it could be at the level of pure Bhakti Yoga also. So Arjuna, according to Krishna, he is supposed to be at this level. Because Krishna is his teacher, so he is telling him, I want you to be here. But Arjuna says, no Krishna, I want to be here. Jnana Yoga. Krishna says, no, better be a Nishkam Karma Yogi. Don't renounce, act in this world. You will do good to yourself and good to others. Then Krishna, but what if Krishna, I want to just enjoy material life, like Karma Kand. Krishna says, no Arjuna, you are meant to be actually a Nishkam Karma. You don't go there also. So that's the whole discussion of 3rd chapter. The next section, why that rungs of ladder? Krishna is telling, don't slip down to material enjoyment, Karma Kand. Stay here. Exemplary. That talks about what is the advantage of being a Nishkam Karma. And how can you conquer enemy of your soul? Lust. Not by Jnana Yoga, but by Nishkam Karma Yoga. That's why those 2 prescriptions. So that's the whole theme of this chapter. Karma Yoga in practice. 5th chapter is Karma Yoga in perfection. One who has mastered Karma Yoga, how does he live? So for us, this chapter is most relevant. I was supposed to complete today 9 verses, but I am not unhappy because you are all tuned in to this topic. Thank you all very much. Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, the Yoga ladder ki jai, Gaur Premanande.